Burlap, lace, hay bales, dirty embroidery machines. All of these things go together and not in a good way. I've got a solution for you. Hi, I'm Hope Yoder with Embellish, manufactured by R&K Distributing. Burlap. Let's talk about how you embroider or sew on burlap. Burlap, you either love it or hate it. And I think most of us love that it's a very earthy, nice texture, and it pairs beautifully with soft, romantic fabrics, lace, cotton quilting fabrics. So in the past, I've avoided burlap because whenever I sewed or embroidered with it, it left my throat plate and my bobbin case just a mess. There were little hay bales underneath there. And I didn't know how to avoid that, but I've got a great solution for you. We're talking about our Embellish products, and I've got several samples on the table. So the first thing that I want to talk about is burlap. Whether you embroider it or you sew it, it's going to be about the same thing. So you've got burlap, and we've got this really fun stocking for the holidays. And the stocking for the holidays, the design collection that is embroidered is actually, and these cute, adorable little lights. Are those not the stinkingest, cutest lights you've ever seen? Well, these are from the design collection called Winter Critters. And right behind me, there's a beautiful quilt on the wall. And guess what? That quilt, all the directions, plus the embroidery, plus the SVG files, come free on the CD, so you can make the quilt behind me. But we took the designs off of the back and we added the little string of lights and this cute little deer and fox hugging each other. But look how nice that looks with the fabric. This is the Sun and Soil fabric and the matte thread and burlap. So step number one when you're using burlap, whether you sew it, doing decorative stitches, or you want to embroider it, it's going to start with this amazing new product from Embellish. This is called Fusible Underlay, and it comes in two versions. It comes in a regular weight and a bold. Now, I like to use the bold weight for burlap, but you could interchange either one depending on what you want to use. Now, the difference between the underlay bold and the underlay regular would be the drapeability of the finished product. Burlap is never gonna drape, y'all, so it doesn't really matter which one you use, but I just like to use the bold one. So I'm going to fuse this with steam to the back of my burlap before I do anything. And what that's gonna do, it forms a permanent bond with the burlap. And that means that all the drippings and the junk that drips off the earthy, cool texture of the burlap is never going to go down in the bobbin case or the throat plate or anywhere there. It seals it and it protects it. So if you're going to do sewing, decorative stitches on burlap, you're going to fuse it with a bold underlay, and then you would add the appropriate stabilizer and topper underneath. So let's talk about toppers and stabilizers. So with this burlap and the lights, sorry, lost my train of thought. Does that ever happen to you? We're going to hoop something, but I don't want to hoop burlap. Can you imagine trying to push the hoop down on this really stiff burlap? It's going to be a mess, and I'm not going to like it. And I want you to love burlap as much as I do. So I'm going to take our Embellish sticky tearaway, and I'm going to hoop the tearaway only, shiny side up in the embroidery hoop. And then I'm going to remove the release paper, which is the shiny side. You just score it lightly so that you can take your fingernails and just pull it away, throw it away. Now you have a sticky hoop. And then you can take your burlap that you have prepped and fused with steam with the underlay, and you're just going to finger press the burlap to the sticky stabilizer that is hooped. And with the embroidery on that, before you embroider, you're going to want to know the design density. So how many stitches are in that? Now I'm going to be talking about a referral guide, and oops, I stuck it here. Let me get it out. And you can find this guide on our website, which is rnk-embellish.com. Under the resources tab, the top blue tab, look for resources. And this is a 4-page guide, and I'm just going right off of the burlap and the type of design, any design, and what are we going to hoop, what are we going to fuse, what are we going to float, and what are we going to top it with. So you can find that all there. So step number one, no matter what you're doing, you're going to fuse the bold or the non-bold underlay. Step number two, if you're embroidering, you're going to hoop sticky tearaway stabilizer. This holds 10,000 stitches in a 4x4 hoop. And it's half water soluble and it's half bold tearaway. So if I need more stabilizer because my design is more than 10,000 stitches and it's bigger than a 4x4 hoop, I'm going to want to add a floater. A floater is where you just float a piece of stabilizer the same size as the hoop under the hoop. It's not hooped. It doesn't need to be fusible. It's just a free floating piece of stabilizer underneath a hoop. And that choice would be our bold tearaway. It holds 12,000 stitches in a 4x4 hoop. So we've got a lot of stitch count that we can take. The last thing I want to talk about is the topper. Now, if you look at these two burlap samples, this is a softer burlap and this is a thick traditional burlap. And what these two things have in common is the topper. And so let's move this aside and get a close-up again of this burlap on, I just think, I love the matte thread. Our Embellish matte thread is a 40 weight thread and it looks so great with the burlap texture. But I want to use a topper that's going to keep the thread from sinking into that really rough burlap. Burlap is about the roughest surface you can embroider on. So this is going to create a nice level plane for my embroidery foot to glide along or to sew along. I would also use this if I was sewing decorative stitches. So I'm going to top it and then I'm going to pull away the topper, and when I'm done I have beautiful burlap that I can do whatever I want with. Now what I skipped was sewing. So burlap, we talked about fusing the back of the burlap with a bold underlay. Got it? And if you're going to do sewing, decorative stitches, then I'm just going to use our Embellish bold tearaway, but I would fuse the tearaway to it if I could, but burlap isn't going to fuse. So normally I'd fuse it, I would. But in this case, burlap doesn't fuse, so I am just using bold tearaway underneath. And again, for sewing, I would still use the topper. Got it? Now, let me show you some other fun things that you can do with, and by the way, this chenille on the back and on the front, we made in one click with our Embellish Maker software program. All right. And this design collection is from our Sew Chandelier collection. And this was actually a nice soft, it's not quite burlap, but it still has that texture. And so we embroidered the Sew Chandelier designs, just like I told you. We have the fusible bold underlay, and then we have our sticky tearaway, and we have our iron-away topper. Y'all, this CD is so cute. I once did a manicure, and I had all the vinyl decals because we have SVG files. But this is what's amazing. Did you wonder why I had this nerd up here, like self-portrait? No, my glasses are red, so it really doesn't look like me. But this is one of our top selling CDs that you probably have in your stash already, called Emoji Pillow Pal, all done in the hoop. But what I wanted you to notice are these glasses are made out of vinyl. But we took the SVG files because all of the designs by Hope Yoder CDs come with the original SVG artwork, so you can pair it with Craft and Cut software and make something amazing. And one of our educators made this awesome sample. She took the glasses from the nerd emoji, the SVG file, not the embroidery file, imported it into Craft and Cut. And then we have these two really cute CDs for dog and cat lovers. And so I just wanted to show you that we actually have a cat tails, but we use the puppy play on this sample. So we combined the emoji SVG glasses with the little puppy, and we put it on burlap. Y'all, look at this. This is amazing. This is giant pillow that you could use outdoors or indoors, but it's shiny and it's not embroidery. And how did we do that? Well, we used fun crafting product that we have called Embellish heat transfer foil. Y'all be sure to watch the video. This is a one-step, super easy process, and it's actually what I'm wearing on my shirt. But did you ever think that you could use heat transfer foil on burlap? Well, the results are right there. This is really, really cool. We have our black and our Fiesta burlap. So next time you think of burlap, don't shudder, don't shake. Print the Embellish reference guide and have fun.